So I wanted to show you all of the stuff that I got from Ollie's. It's a lot. I actually went to 6 different stores, and I started back, I guess, second week of July. But most of this stuff I actually got in the last 2 or 3 days. The first couple of trips when I went, all I found were paper pads and some things like that, which I was very thrilled with. But my last run, which I went last week, or excuse me, this week, I went 3 separate days, and I did a 6-store tour, and got a lot because of the $1 American craft sale that's going on, and found a ton. So I have a boutique at the Painted Tree, gearing up for all of my Christmas supply. Not just Christmas themed items, but things that people buy as Christmas gifts that I have to have in the store by September 15th. So I took a couple of days to really try to find quite a lot of inventory, so that I had my supply was stocked up. I'm in northeast Georgia, so I'm right outside of Atlanta, in a little town called Grayson. And so all of my stores are within a 30-mile radius of where I am in Grayson. So northeast Georgia. So my local store is the Snellville, Georgia store, which is a pretty good store. I found quite a lot in there. I go down to Gwinnett Mall, which is the Norcross store or the Duluth store, and have found some stuff there. By far the best store is north of me. It's the Buford store, which is, I believe it's considered Sugar Hill, which is near the Mall of Georgia. They have a ton of American crafts, $1. There was a few caveats, so as I go through it, I'll explain why they priced some things a little bit differently. The store manager up there has made his rules a little bit different, which is fine. It's still a very good deal. But they have 2 huge pallets of stuff, and quite a lot. I also went to the Athens, Georgia store, which is where UGA is. That's about 30 minutes from me. I went to the Monroe store, which is out Stone Mountain past Loganville, in Monroe, Georgia. That's it looks like they took over a Big Lots. And then I went down to Madison. I found something really good in each store. But some of the stores I would go back another time, but probably I'm going to stick to the Buford store, the Norcross store, and the Snellville store. The Athens, Monroe, and Madison store were good, but I got what I needed there, and they didn't know what I was talking about when I kept asking. They didn't have like big pallets of stuff, and they kept saying, we put out everything we have, like we don't know what you're talking about. Versus the other 3 stores were like, yes, we have American crafts, we're doing the best we can. Like, they seem to know and have a lot of stuff. So, if you're in this area, this is the stuff that you'll find there. Most of this I bought in the last 3 days. This mat is one of my really, really happy finds. This was, I think, $5, $4.99. I was pretty happy to find these. I bought 2 of these, and I actually found these in 2 separate stores. The second item that I got that I really needed, oh, excuse me, and this is a 17 by 23 inch mat. I found the glass cutting mat. Very, very, very happy about this mat. It is 14 by 14, and it's a glass top. So I got 2 of these, and again, I found these in 2 separate stores. They were also $4.99, $5. I got... This is one of my happiest finds because I take a lot of pictures because I have an online store. It's so sweet of you. So I take a lot of pictures, and this is a Shotdrop. So this is a photo backdrop kit, and I only saw this in 1 store, and they only had 2 of them, and I bought one, and the lady next to me bought the other one. And so I was pretty happy to see this. It's basically 20 inches by 20 inches, and it's got a very heavy cardboard bottom and a very heavy cardboard back, that's black on one side and white on the other, both pieces. And you've got 2 little L clips that clamp it together. And then it comes with 6 double-sided backdrops. So there's actually 12 options. I don't know if you can see this. There's 12 options. but it's 6 pieces, and so you decide which you want on the back and which you want on the bottom. Letterboard, a 10 inches tall by 20 inches wide, and these were only $1. As you can see, I've already taken the letters out and started doing them. I got 4 of these, and I'm using them as a pricing board for my boutique over at the Painted Tree. And so this is going to go on the side. I have these IKEA shelves, and this is going to go on the side. I see people handling my stuff all the time, looking at the price, and so I thought, well, let me just go ahead and put up a pricing board, so that, you know, people can just glance at it and see if they have something in their price range. So I actually got 4 of these. Before I found these, literally the week before, I had found this letterboard that is 12 by 12, and it was only $2.99. And it was the same gray and wood trim. So I'd actually just bought 2 of these, but for $3, this is a good price. And then, so I bought 2 of these, and then went in a week later, and they had these on the dollar table. They did have a whole case of these, and I went yesterday to see if they had one more, and they were gone. But she did tell me that there was a lot of stuff out on the dock that they hadn't had the opportunity to bring in and unpack. So I'm kind of hoping there's some more on the truck. I only need 1 more. This I got at the Snellville store. It is a We Are Memory Keepers mold press. And basically, if you've never used one, you take a piece of plastic and you put it in the top part of the mold up here, and it heats up, and then this plate goes up with the plastic on it, and it melts the plastic. You put something on the plate down here that is 3D. Has to be something kind of rigid. You know, it can't be like a silk flower, but it has to be something like they're using a shell in this case. But I've done Christmas ornaments. You can do, the one that I was the happiest about was I spelled my grandkids' names out in refrigerator magnets. So I put the refrigerator magnets down next to each other, heated it up. It takes like 2 to 3 minutes to heat up, and then you push this plate down, and when you push the plate down, the piece of plastic here forms around whatever object that you created, and it creates a mold of it. And then you can, I put chocolate in mine. I wanted chocolate molds to spell their name out, so each letter was a piece of chocolate. But you can put soap in it, you can do bath bombs in it, you can make lollipops out of it, you can do whatever you want out of that plastic mold. I don't remember how many. I think it has 6 or 8 sheets of plastic in it. So right now I'm looking for more plastic sheets. I actually bought 2 of them. They had a whole massive stack of them. I bought 2 of them to see if my daughter wanted one. And a lot of stuff, because I do this for a living, sometimes I'll buy myself a spare, because I get used to using a machine like this, and then it breaks, and then, you know, I'm actually needing it. So that was a really, really good deal. Right now I'm looking for the plastic that I can use to see if I can use a different kind of plastic instead of the plastic that comes with it. This I got at the Buford store, the one that is by the Mall of Georgia. It's kind of a funny story. When I was in there shopping, I went to go put it in my buggy, and there was another shopper who was standing there, and I could tell this was her local store. She knew where everything was, and she struck up a conversation with me, and she said, "Oh, are you getting the thermal cinch?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I make journals all the time, and I'm really interested in a book binding, something a little faster to bind my book." So this basically, I don't know if you can see right here, it's the spine of the book. It has a glue strip, and you put your book together and then put this binding around it and put this glue strip in here, and all you do is drop it in this machine, and there's a heating element down here that heats the glue up and melts it. So if you open up a book, you know how it's always got glue on the spine? That's what this is doing. It's melting the glue to go on the spine, but it's all hands off, and you don't have to worry about it. So it makes it so it's not, I mean, right now I'm hand gluing my books, and so this will be really nice. And all I really have to do to make this work is to buy the glue strips, which are very, very, very inexpensive. You just have to know how many pages are going to be in your book so that you know whether you need a 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch or an inch piece of glue to go in here. It's a glue strip, so it's not double adhesive tape, it's actually melted glue that they have formed. But as I put it in my buggy, she said, well, I just want to point out to you, this has an Australian plug. And I said, oh, wait, what? And she said, yep, they have Australia style plugs. She said, I bought one, got it home, pulled it out of the box, and was like, what's the matter with this plug? Said, my husband looked at it, and she goes, oh, you're going to need an adapter. So she said they started looking at it, and you can't just get an adapter, even though it's an Australia plug, because this is 250 volts, and so you have to have a power converter. So she's like, so she goes, my $1 find cost me $35 buying a power converter and adapter from Australia to the US on Amazon. And I said, well, let me take the chance. I'm going to buy it anyway. Let me take a chance, because I used to travel internationally a lot with my job, and I've been to a lot of countries, and I have all of these adapters, and I'm pretty sure there was a power converter in there. So sure enough, when I got home, I went up and looked, and I had a power converter and an adapter, and I happened to have the one for, I can't remember what it's called, Type I or something, that was for Australia and China, because I've been. So I was pretty happy with this. So I actually bought, again, I bought two, my main one and then a backup one. And so my original thought was I was going to get either my son or my son-in-law to change the cord, but what I've realized later is you can't do that, because it's the actual power inside of it that has to be converted. So anyway, still I think because I happen to have it, I thought it was a very, very good deal. But if you go up there and you get it, make sure you notice, and they all were Australia. She and I went through all the cases looking to see if we could find one that didn't have an Australia plug. That's probably why they didn't sell. But again, for $1, it was absolutely worth it, but not if you can't get power to it. But I was lucky and had one, and so this wound up being a very good deal for me. So in the realm of paper pads, let's see, I got this at the Beaufort store, and this is one of those that has a story. This is colored burlap. It has 8 pieces in it, and it's very heavy burlap fabric. In the design, they show how to make roses, and they even have a picture on the back of how you can cut out and make burlap roses. So I thought it was, super cute. I make a lot of journals and a lot of photo albums and a lot of things with paper, and I do fabric also, and I thought, oh, this would be really kind of interesting to use something with burlap. And I have done natural burlap, but I've never bought any colored burlap. And now with Joanne's gone, I got to find a new place to get fabric. And so I thought, well, let me try this. I mean, for $1, how could I go wrong at 12 cents a sheet? Well, I get up to the register, and the lady that was checking me out, she was very sweet. She said, oh, when she saw me coming, and I immediately apologized because I did have a buggy full, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. I promise that I'll help, and this will go fast. And she said, no, it's just our store manager has all these rules, and a lot of that stuff isn't the price you think it is. And I went, uh-oh. Well, this was one of them. So I set it down, and she said, this isn't $1. And I said, well, how much is it? And if she would have said $1.99, I would have just said, oh, sure, I'd pay that for a paper pad in a heartbeat. Sure, that's worth it to me. But that's not what she said. She said, we have to take them apart and sell them at 25 cents a sheet. Well, I was so tired, I just went, what? That's not right. This should be $1. And she said, no, it has to be 25 cents a sheet. So I have to ring this up at 8 times 25. And I was just like, what? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And she said, it's just our manager. It's just what he said. And I said, no. I don't mean that his idea is stupid. His idea is a good idea. I just think if you're going to price it at $1.99, you just need to slap a $1.99 sticker on there, and somebody like me won't even blink. But now that you've said it's 25 cents a sheet, for some reason now I think it's expensive, which it's not. It's well worth $1.99. So I wound up buying one of them. I'm still going to try it. It's still, in my opinion, a really good deal at $1.99. But she just kind of threw me off that it wasn't the price I thought it was. These, I actually saw these in a bunch of different stores, and these are back in the craft section. They were not with the American craft stuff. These are 99 cents for file folders. There's 6 file folders in here. I'm always on the hunt for really heavy cardstock to make my journals with. If I can't find something heavy like this, I have to wind up putting chipboard in it. And this just saves me an enormous amount of time. Instead of doing cardstock and then putting designer paper on it, or doing chipboard and putting it on there, I can make things really, really fast with this. And so this was 6 file folders, and they're really pretty. They're 3 designs, 2 folders each, and they're all floral. So I actually got several of these, but I did see these in multiple stores. They have several types of file folders, and really watch them, because some are 99, some are $1.99, and some are $2.99, and it just depends on what you like. I happen to I sell a lot of things that are floral, and so this was a really good deal for me, so I got a bunch of those. This is another set of file folders that I got, and I've been seeing these in there for the last couple weeks. And this set is 9 folders versus the other one was 6, and this is $1.99. Again, they're all this striped type pattern, but different, different variations of the black, gray, and white. But again, this makes a really, really pretty journal and makes a really pretty cover. And so it's still worth it for $1.99 for me. They had one with big writing all over it that was $2.99. And even though I thought that was a good deal too, I can't use the big writing because a lot of times my journals, I actually need the the pattern to go this way. So let's see. And then I had these paper pads. This one I got about 3 weeks ago. They had like 3 cases of this, and nobody was buying them. And it's because the paper is so thin. They also had it in the wrong spot. This was in our Snellville store. And they had it, I think, on the display that was going to be the American Crafts display before American Crafts got there. And somebody had opened the box and just shoved it on the bottom, opened it up, and then just shoved it down there. But that's not where crafters were looking, because this was before they announced the American Crafters, or any of us knew that that's what that display was going to be. And I just happened to spot it. And so I got 3 of them, but I pulled the case out and asked her, I said, should I put this back in the craft section so people will see it? And she said, oh, well, that would be nice of you. So I carried it back there and put it in the craft section, and literally went back 2 days later. Excuse me, I bought 2 of them. Went back 2 or 3 days later to get a 3rd one, and all of them were gone but one. So I thought, now you see, now that it's in the craft section, all us crafters who were desperately looking for paper pads found it. But they graciously left me one. But this is 180 sheets. It is 8.5 by 11. Very, 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 very thin paper. So I'm not going to go through a lot of these paper pads because I know you've seen them. But for what I use them for, it's okay. I use cardstock to make my journals, and then I buy inspiration books and then cut the poems and the inspiration out as ephemera, and then I mount it and use this as like the back frame, and then it has the inspiration in the center, and then the cardstock is actually what's making my journal. So this is just decorative paper to me, but I'm not using it as anything fancy. This is very difficult to use by itself because it's so thin, but it's actually very pretty paper, a lot of different designs and a lot of different colors. This pad I found in one store, and I only found 2 of them. I only bought one. I left the other one there because somebody had torn the other one apart and some of the pages were missing. But it is a color block. It was $1.99 for 50 sheets, and it is kind of large designs on here that were all had to do with baby. And so I thought that was cute. So I thought, maybe one of the albums I'll make it a baby album. But it wasn't with the crafting supplies. It was over where the kids' stuff was, like with the kids' coloring books. And I happened to be looking for a Spidey coloring book for my grandson, and that's when I saw this. So this paper, I'm pretty particular about my cardstock, and so this is basil, and because I make a lot of Christmas stuff to go into my boutique over the painted tree, I go through a huge amount of red cardstock because at Christmas time, everything Christmas theme is either gold, red, green, you know, or some variation thereof. And so I tend to, especially if I'm making packaging, I use a lot of red. Last year I used like 3 reams of red cardstock. I just literally couldn't keep it in stock. This is really nice heavy paper, much nicer than the cardstock I typically buy. So this was 25 sheets for $2.99, and I bought 1 pack when I first saw it, and then after that I went back, and every time I saw it I'd buy another pack and another pack and another pack and another pack, and so I have 5 or 6, and I've already used 2 or 3 of them. This was in the regular crafting section. Again, it was $2.99, so this was not on the dollar sale. It's AC cardstock, and again, it's a 80-pound white cardstock that is 60 loose sheets, and you probably can't tell, but it's got a texture to it. And it just like the basil, I really like cardstock that has a texture. A lot of times when I'm making items, I emboss them because I don't like just plain cardstock. I think it's boring. And so for it to save me the step of having to emboss it and put a pattern on it, I really like the texture. So for me, that was a really good deal. I got several packs like this that was just plain smooth cardstock. This is 50 sheets, 8.5 by 11, the ivory. This is the color block also. However, this is not ivory, just FYI. This is yellow. It's like a sunshiny yellow or a butter yellow. It's a very pretty yellow, and I can absolutely use it. Just don't get it actually thinking it's ivory, because it's not ivory at all. This is the craft paper, and this is, again, this was several weeks ago when I got this. But they still have it. I actually saw this yesterday in 2 of the stores I went to. They still had the craft paper, but I had already bought 3 or 4 of these, so I have plenty. And again, I've already used 2 packs of this. That's how fast I go through it. But it was $1.99 for 50 sheets, and it's the smooth. And I will tell you, this stuff embosses beautifully. So, you know, I actually make a lot of tags out of these. And so I have a tag punch, and so what I do, let's see if I have one that's embossed, is I cut this out with my tag punch, and then I run it through my embossing machine, and then just tie burlap or a ribbon or something on the end of it. And I use this in a lot of my journals and do it as like a giveaway. And so this makes it just beautiful. I also use this in my photo books to wrap my chipboard with. I got the blue azules. This was $1.99 for 50 sheets, 66 pounds. I like this because it had a lot of different colors. And when I'm buying the ephemera, sometimes it's hard to match, you know, it's hard to match the greens and the blues and the reds and the purples to what you're trying to work on. So I wish I had found more that had this kind of selections. And so that has worked out really well. This pad actually didn't work out that well, which very much surprised me because I was so excited when I saw it, and I thought, oh, I'll use every piece of that, and I have not hardly used any of it. It was $1.99, 50 sheets, the color block again, and it was the primary. And so I used, like I said, a ton of red. And then I thought, well, this goldenrod and the green and the purple, certainly I'll use that. Very pretty pieces. So the red I'll definitely use. The problem is I really like that basil better, so I've been using that. Orange I use sometimes during the fall. The goldenrod, I guess, okay. The green I'll use for Christmas. And then the blue to me looks purple. I mean, it is, I guess it is a purple. So I actually thought I would use this a lot more. I think I got 3 or 4 packs, and I have barely used it at all. So I think it's just to be in my stash. Every now and then I'll need this color, and thank goodness I'll have it. But again, I did pull a lot of it out the other day and make tags out of it and emboss it. And it's gorgeous embossed. It's just, you have to really put this with a designer paper. And for some reason, I don't gravitate to those colors. So I think that's really the problem, is I don't have a lot of designer paper that matches that. So I find in my little store, especially little journals and little composition books and stuff, that when I cover them, if I cover them in kids paper, the kids just think they're cute, especially if I put like a gel pen in there. And so I'm always on the hunt for these page kits. A lot of times I buy them in Hobby Lobby when they put them on clearance, and it has the pages in it and the stickers and the ephemera all kind of put together. And so this has, I think, 6 sheets of paper, 24 die cuts, and 113 stickers. And I'll make little journals out of these, and I sell them very inexpensively. But one kit like this can make quite a few journals. And so anytime I can get something that the kids like, I'll make that whole little basket of journals, and they sell really, really, really rapidly. This is the Park Lane Pastel Shimmer. It's a 12 by 12 pack that I found. I just found this yesterday, and so I had been looking for it. I actually really wanted the pastel shimmer. One of the photo albums, I make photo albums, but I also have, I'll show you in a minute, Project Life binders that I'm putting together, and one of them is going to be a baby binder. I put them together and then sell them in my boutique. One of them is a baby, and I needed a lot of baby colors, and so I think one of the ladies was in there and she picked it up and she goes, "Oh, I don't need Easter paper." And I thought, that's what everybody's thinking is Easter paper, but I see baby paper. And so 12 by 12, very nice, very heavy paper, only 30 sheets, which again, a lot of people equate how many sheets with how good the paper is, and it's not that. This is, you know, both sides, very heavy, cardstock, very nice paper pad. This is one of my happier finds, the Rustic Meadows. Again, only 34 sheets, so a lot of people would see this and think it's a small paper pad. However, it is foil, shimmer, canvas, texture, acetate, and embossed. It's double-sided, and it's very, very, very nice. So this saves me so much time when I'm making stuff. It also has several cut-apart sheets in here, so I can make several journals out of this with virtually no effort. I don't have to use cardstock and then line the designer paper on top of it. I can just use this. It's heavy enough to hold its own. I don't have to emboss it because it's already embossed. I don't even have to put foil on it because it's already foiled. So I mean, every single one of these, this is what I gravitate to when I have to go buy at retail. I actually look for these type of packs where it's a collection pack where it has all the different choices and that it's double-sided and heavy. This is the Heirloom. I know a lot of people were looking for this one. Again, I just found this like 2 days ago. It's $1.99. It was 180 sheets. It is 12 by 12, so that's good. So it was the bigger one. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful designs. My only comment on this is it's very thin paper. And so again, I can only use this as accent paper. So a lot of times, and I'll show you in a minute when I show you my nail files, when I make packaging, I can use this and fold it in half, and then fold it and fold it and fold it, and then it starts to get thick enough that it'll hold what I'm doing. But just to use it as a plain sheet of paper and not fold it, it's a little too thin for my taste. But I'll take these pads all day long because of just the selections. So I did find several packs of Cricut Foil transfer sheets. Now, I do use my Cricut all the time. I have a Cricut Explorer 2, but I do not have the foil transfer tool. I should just buy it. I don't know why I put myself through this, but I just don't do a lot of foil transfer. I like to do it at Christmas on some of my Christmas designs. I have a really beautiful kind of abstract Christmas tree that you do out of green, and then you put little red foil ornaments on it and gold foil ornaments, and it's really, really pretty. But I did, when I first found the red, I bought a pack of it, and then I came home and did a little research, and I do have a die cut and an embossing machine, and apparently you can use these foil transfer sheets in your laminate machine or your die cut machine, and so I did open one and try it in my embossing machine, and it worked. I mean, it did transfer the foil. The other trick that I saw that worked beautifully was you take your card or whatever you're designing and you put double stick tape down, and then you put the foil over the top of it and then pull the foil off, and it transfers it into a strip so it looks like washi tape. That was really pretty. So that would actually work on the tree that I'm working for. I saw the red in multiple stores, and they had lots and lots and lots of it. So I would have no trouble right now pointing to where there's 20 or 30 packs of this red. I could not find the other colors though. So yesterday I stumbled upon a pack of silver and a pack of rose gold. They only had one pack of each. All the rest was red, and that was the only store I saw these colors in. And so I'm not quite sure. Maybe somebody already bought all the other colors and they don't want the red. But I was pretty happy with the red. So this is the Delilah paper pad. It is a 12 by 12 designer paper, 50 sheets by Colorbach. Of course, they're all $1.99. This is really, really pretty pattern paper. It is thin, not as thin as the heirloom, but it's pretty thin. But just, you know, very, very beautiful designs. I actually saw quite a lot of these in several of the stores. And I got these particular pack about 2 weeks ago, so it's been a while. This is the confetti paper. I saw this, I think, in 2 or 3 of the stores. This is from Recollections, and it is a 12 by 12, 58 sheets, 29 designs, 2 sheets each. This is it's one-sided, but it is a heavier paper. It's more like a cardstock weight. And so this will make great birthday cards and birthday gift card holders. So I really like this one. The plaids, I found this in 2 of the stores. I only saw 1 box in each store, and I only got 1 pack in each store. So this was about 2 weeks ago, and I haven't seen them since. It's from Recollections, the 12 by 12, 58 sheets. And just like the confetti, it's a heavier cardstock. So again, even though it's one-sided, I really like it when it's heavier, because then I don't have to mat as much. This one I looked and looked for, and I only actually saw this in 1 store, and I only saw 1 pad. It's from Recollection. It's the Surfaces, and it's the 12 by 12, 58 sheets, but this has, you know, the brick and the wood and all that type grain. So I was pretty happy to get this one. I wish I could have found another one, but I was, I think, very fortunate just to find this one. Okay, so these are the storage paper racks that I found. I found 2 of them in the Duluth store about, I don't know, about a week and a half ago. And they had about 6 of them, but I only bought 2 at the time. And they were marked $18.99, but I got them for $3.99. So they were only $4. So I bought 2 of them. When I first put them together, I felt that they were kind of flimsy. And so I wound up zip tying them together. So these trays do kind of slide and move in and out, but I didn't really want them to slide. I wanted this to be a lot sturdier. So I actually zip tied the bottom to the side so that they wouldn't like tip and tip out. I was in the Snellville store several days later and happened to see 2 more. Yeah, I think I saw 2 more, so I got those for $3.99. So then I had a total of 4. I'll show you a picture of mine all put together because I did wind up with 4. One thing I do want to point out is there's 2 little rings on the top, and then there's 2 on the bottom, but the 2 on the bottom are bent in. So I actually stacked mine. So I have one on top of the other, and the ring on the bottom I put in this one, and then I zip tied it together. And I actually have a huge baker's cart that I moved from each of my crafting stations that has all my paper and all my paper supplies on it. And I actually have it zip tied to the leg so that it won't tip over when I'm moving my cart around. This was a really, really good way to store all my 12 by 12 paper pads. I have one that's all 12 by 12 paper pads, and then the other one is all 8.5 by 11 with my cardstock and then my designer paper underneath it. And so it's worked out really, really well. So this is the washi tape that I bought in the Buford store, the one up by Mall of Georgia. They had these Heidi Swap washi stickers. They were awfully, you know, they were little, And so I'll use them in my journals. I only bought one because I just wanted to try it out and test it. But I have so much washi tape that to me it was just almost a waste to get more. But this is the washi tape that I bought. I bought 2 packs of each one. And this is, I think, each example. So I got 8 different kinds. I found these in 3 different stores, so they didn't all come from the same store. And I only bought 2 packs of each one. This one, I got at one of the faraway stores. It was either Monroe or Madison, and they had, gosh, there must have been thousands of them. But it was this one design. It was Christmas, and it was in the book section of all crazy things, over by the happy birthday signs, and not in the craft section at all. And literally just boxes upon boxes upon boxes of them. And so I don't know who in the warehouse, why they sent 1,000 of these to one store instead of a case to each one. But for $1, it was really, really worth it. And then I found, which one? This one says thank you. I found this one yesterday in a store, and it was the only one they had gotten. But they only had like 2 or 3 cases of it. But I got it because I needed that thank you tape. And I think I found, I got 2 of these. They had a whole case of them sitting there. But again, these were on the American Craft table for $1. And then in my beloved store of Snellville, which is my home store, they had a couple of cases. And these were the 6 designs they had in that case. And they probably had, I don't know, 15 or 20 of each design. I only bought 2 packs because I don't need that much. But I use washi tape a lot in my journals. And when I do composition books, and then I cover the front, and then you go through and put designer paper throughout the book, a lot of times putting washi tape on the edge is a really pretty design. And so I wanted it just for all of the variety. I did open one up and try. It was actually this blue and white one, and I tried it just to see. It didn't stick super well, so I don't know if it was just this one manufacturer. I haven't opened every one of them and tried, but didn't love it. It stuck, but it didn't stick as good as I needed it to. So I think going forward, I'll put some glue behind it, or maybe some double-sided tape, just to make sure my washi tape doesn't come up. The other interesting thing is these are all different manufacturers. This was AC Christmas Plaid. This one is Jen Hatfield. This one is Horizon. This one is Maggie Adams. This one, I don't know who it is. It just says Round Trip, which is, I think, the name. Oh, this is Maggie Holmes. This is another Jen Hatfield. This one is Paige Evans. And this one is Vicky Boutine. And so they were all on the American Crafts table, so I guess at some point they're all from American Craft, but that was the washi tape. This is my Project Life group of stuff that I bought. So I make photo albums, hand make them from the chipboard all the way through, and then I glue in everything. And so it's, you know, it's the base of it is set, and then I decorate each page, and all you do is put your photos in. This is actually a kit that you buy. And so Project Life has actually been discontinued. And so that's probably why they're getting rid of all this. But again, it's American Crafter, so it was $1. So the one I found, this was in the Norcross store, the one near Gwinnett Mall. It is it says it's 6x8, but it's actually, the binder itself is 9x9, even though it says, but the pages inside are 6x8, and it's a 2-ring binder, and it has 10 of the photo sleeves inside. Now, if you're not familiar with Project Life, the way it works is you buy an album, whichever album you like, and then it comes with a few pages, and then you typically have to buy a couple more packs of pages, and then instead of just sliding your photos in, you slide a photo in, and then you buy their cards, which have like sentiments on it or designs on it, and then you slide it in. It's for kind of more people that are non-crafters, but they want to kind of decorate something. And so you slide the cards in, and so you have a nice mixture of photos and cards, and maybe a little journaling card, and you can write, you know, oh, we went to the park today, and then put a picture here, and then have like a sentiment here, or, you know, you can put them in. So these pages hold a 4x6 and then a 3x4 and a 3x4, and so it came with 5 of those, and then 5 pages that held 4 3x4s. And so I really liked this set of inserts that was in this. And again, they had cases and cases of these. So that was one of them. And this one happened to have a 2-inch spine. But then I went to the Snellville store, which is my local store, and they had this one. Now, this isn't Project Life. This was another name brand, and I can't remember the name of what the name brand was, but it was on the American Crafter's table. But the reason I took the sheet off of it is they had dropped something sticky on it. It looked like jelly or something. I don't know what it was. All over all of the cases. So it wasn't just, I even opened up 2 or 3 more cases thinking maybe I could find some clean ones. And all of the cases had whatever this sticky substance was. It was all over the plastic. But the lady that was working opened one up for me to show me that the binders themselves had not been damaged in any way. They were not sticky. So I went ahead and bought a couple of these. They have, just like that one, the nice spine, the nice little thing on the end. This one is a 2.5, almost 3-inch spine. Again, it's a little bit bigger. It's the same size, 9x9. And it also has the 6x8 inserts, the same as the gold one. This one, though, instead of having the 2 rings like the gold one, the 2 rings here, this one has 4 rings. That didn't bother me because a lot of times when I make the pages, I just take my hole punch. I make it from cardstock, and then when I put it in here, I just punch where I need my holes, and I use this as a template. So that's perfectly fine with me. I happen to know that you can also buy these at Hobby Lobby, the inserts. So even though Project Life itself, the same inserts are in the Project Life binder that are in this one, so they're pretty universal. You just need to buy the ones that have the proper holes, or if not, get a hole punch and just punch it. What I didn't like about this one was the sheets in here. It had the same 10 sheets, and they had the same 3x4 for 2 of them, but then they had 2 sheets that held 2 4x6s, and then they had 2 sheets that held a full 6x8, which I thought was a little unusual. And then this was almost useless to me. It had 12 of the little tiny 2x2s, which I do not like little 2x2 photos, and so I didn't love that this had 4 of those sheets in it, but it's what came with it. So my intent with these, let's see if I can find them. I happened to find in one of the stores these gold glitter ephemera stickers that are phrase stickers that say like Heart of Home and Grow Together and Thankful Heart. And so my intent is, and I will say this again, a negative thing, they glued the label straight to the album, and it's gold, so you have to be super careful when you take this off so you don't mar the, you'll mar this up. So I have a heat gun, so I heated mine with a heat gun and it peeled right off. But if you don't have a heat gun, just use a hairdryer. Just hold it kind of far away and just hold it for a few seconds, and it will loosen this glue up, because if you put your nail into there and try to pick it off, you will wind up marring this. But basically I'm using this stickers to go on this to kind of decorate it, and then I'll take a couple that I'll completely cover the entire album. But I thought I had made one and took it over to the painted tree, and it sold like in 2 days, and so the gold glitter and the gold seems to be kind of a popular thing. And again, I got these at the the Beaufort Ollies, and they were in a pack of 3, but when I got to the register, she said, oh no, those are $1 per pack. And so we opened it up, and there were 3 in there, and I bought all 3 of them. But it was still a very, very, very good deal for that. So these are an example of the cards, the Project Life cards that you buy to actually go in those binders. When I first saw my first pack of cards, my thought was, oh, I can make tags out of those, like before I even found the Project Life binders. But these, in my opinion, will not make very good tags. They're too thin, but you could use them as ephemera to go on the front of something. So I do buy little poem books and inspiration books, and then, you know, tear the pages out and cut it out and put it on the front of a journal. And so it would be good for that. But again, you have to mat it. But they're thinner than I thought cards should be. This one only had 40 cards in it, which for Project Life, you know, for these huge packs, this was like a kind of a small pack. But it was a little different because they were journal cards. And they're different because they have like, what do I do today? Thoughts. What do I need to buy this week? So this is more if you're using your binder as a planner. And so I will put one or two of these together as a planner and then put them over there for sale. And we'll see. Typically, when I make a planner, they actually sell quite well. But I've never used these cards. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. This is another example. I can't remember if I got this in Madison or Athens. But it was the only design that they had, and they had thousands of them. It has 180 cards in it, and if you can see right here in the picture, this is how you decorate. And these binders can be 12 by 12, they can be 8.5 by 11, they can be the ones I have that hold the 6 by 8. So, and it doesn't have to be a Project Life binder, it's just that's the concept. You can use any binder with any photo sleeves. What you're looking for is that the pocket can hold a 3 by 4 or 4 by 6 picture, because that's what these cards are. And so you intersperse your pictures with journaling cards or little sayings. And then these are the cards that are in there. This is a black and white design. I think it's called Good Times. Is it? I think, yeah, Good Times. But it's a black and white. When I saw it, I loved it. And then I got it home and I opened one because I was going to put one in black binder. And I think that the printing could be better. It seems a little dull to me. Again, once you get it in here and you decorate it and it's inside the plastic, you can't really tell. But for me to take this and to make a tag, the quality of the printing isn't good enough. It could be that that's this design and it's supposed to be kind of, I don't know, like that. That would not be my style. This one I liked a lot better. This one I got up at the Beaufort store. It's a bigger pack. It's 616. Again, it has a ton of the 3 by 4 cards, but then a whole stack of the 4 by 6 cards. This one is the Seasons edition. And if you're interested and want to go up there, as of yesterday, they had like 6 cases. And I don't mean 6 boxes. I mean 6 cases. And there were probably 12 of these in a case. So there's literally probably 100 of these boxes sitting up there. So this one has all the seasons. So it goes from Happy New Year to Valentine's Day to St. Patty's Day to Easter to Hello Summer to 4th of July, Fall, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Happy Birthday, I mean, everything. And so this is the one I'm the most excited for me to make my photo albums to sell, because people respond really well when it's a seasonal, like when I sell my, I do 12 by 12 scrapbook pages, and really like the seasons because they know they took a picture at Christmas time, or they know they have a birthday picture, or they can find something that looks, you know, like something they did in the summer. But a lot of non-crafters don't really know how to put it together. So basically what I do is I put it in the album, and I'm going to use the black one and the gold one, and I'll make a couple of these, and then if you there's a design on one side, and then when you turn it over, there's a design on the other side. So usually if it has words, there's like a design on the other side, and you can use it either way. You can put them in and let the card itself be double-sided, so you don't have to use double cards, which is what I'm going to do. And then I'm just going to say, whatever pictures you have, you just put it where the card is. Just slide it right over the top of the card, or you can move your cards around. This one in particular had 500 of the 3x4 cards, and then 100 of the 4x6 cards, of which 40 of them are journaling cards and 60 of them are title cards. Now, a title card just says something on it, and a journaling card is it has a design, but it's so that you can write on it. And so you would basically put hello summer and then use a journaling card and then put your picture. Then on the journaling card you would say, this is our fun day at the pool where we went to go visit grandma or whatever. And then you have your picture in there too. And so it's just a really great way for non-crafters to be able to put together kind of a fun album with very little effort. But if you're doing this as a craft to sell, I highly recommend getting a binder, decorating the binder, putting the project pages in, buying more project pages. Like you can get them in Hobby Lobby. I know they have a pack of 10 backed by their photo albums that are 6x8, and at the time I think there were $4.49 for a pack of 10, but I got them, I think it was either 40 or 60% off. So I think I only paid like $2.50 for the whole pack, so it's like 25 cents a sheet. So that's pretty good, especially if you're only paying $1 for the cards. And so you can easily put together an entire album for not a lot. Okay, so let's see. This is some of the I do a lot of gluing and a lot of adhesions, and so these are some of the things that I bought. Ollie's always has these. These are the foam mounting squares. Sometimes I buy them at the Dollar Tree, but I really like the ones at Ollie's. I think they have a better glue on them. This is a pack of 64 squares, 99 cents. A lot of times this is not in the craft section. If you're in an Ollie's, it's by the tools in some stores, or by where they like have picture hanging. I also get the foam mounting tape because it's this square. If I cut this in squares, it's smaller. And so I pop my ephemera up. I don't really love flat stickers. And so I use this a lot. But this wasn't on the recent sale. They have this all the time. But sometimes it's kind of hard to find. So it's always good to get it when the getting's good. This was on the American Crafters table. I thought it was $1. It was not. It was $1.99. But it was still worth it because each roll is 27 yards, which is better than your standard tape roll. So it actually had a lot more tape than is typical. In my business, I use the big, huge rolls of Scotch tape that I buy from Sam's Club. And because I use a lot of tape. When I make my candy bouquets, I glue my bamboo stick to my candy, and then I put tape over it just to make sure it's sealed. And so I really don't need this for that, but it was just such a good deal. I went ahead and got it. But this is actually going in my gift wrap box. So at Christmas time, when everybody's grabbing my nice craft tape, we'll have gift wrap tape. But for $1.99, that was a pretty good deal. This was a good deal, but I don't think it is a good deal anymore. This is glue. So when I first went into the Snellville store, they had boxes and boxes and boxes of these. And so I grabbed 2 boxes thinking, you know, I'll pay $1 for 3. There's 3 bottles in here. I'll pay $1 for 3 bottles of glue. That's 35 cents, 33 cents. And so I bought 2 boxes of it. And then I went back in and I was yesterday, and I was grabbing some stuff, and I thought, oh, I'll grab my daughter. She's a school teacher. I'll grab her a little bit of glue. You know, you just can never have enough glue. And they'd thrown all the boxes away and taken all the bottles out and were selling each bottle for $1. In my opinion, that makes this not a very good deal because you can buy a 4-ounce bottle of Eileen's tacky glue at, you know, Dollar Tree for $1.25, which is a very, very, very good glue. For a lot of my paper crafting, I use either double-sided tape or I use barely art glue because if you use this kind of glue, it makes your paper warp, and so you have to really be careful. So I only use this for very sporadic projects. So this is now just surplus glue. I think I got a deal because it was in the box, but honestly, I don't think it's a great deal individually. So I also got I use a lot of ribbon, especially in my tags. I tie it, I make a tag, and then I put a reinforcement on it, and then I tie a ribbon in it, and I put those in all my journals and everything. And then I actually sell kits with just tags in them. This I got in, you know, I use a lot of ribbon, so I thought, well, this is kind of a pretty, you know, linen-y looking ribbon. It was only 6 yards of each size, so it's only 12 yards for $1, which in the world of ribbon, that's not a very good deal. I can buy a much bigger, nicer roll of ribbon for $1. I'm always on the look for ribbon, and I have boxes and boxes and boxes of ribbon. So I did get this because it was a little different looking, but probably would not get that again. Got some paintbrushes. Who doesn't need paintbrushes? So got these for $1. I tend to use the big ones quite a lot. I do sew, and so I'm always needing sewing supplies. So this was over in the craft section, and I think it came in when the Joann's craft paper came in, because I've seen it in a couple stores. One of the stores, I believe it was Madison, had a huge wall of this stuff. And so I thought the pins in this little daisy were cute. They were only 99 cents. And then these are needles for my Singer sewing machine. And so they had, I think, 8 different kinds depending on the fabric. They had like an embroidery stitch and a, you know, a quilting stitch and a top stitch and all these different needles. The project I'm working on now is just a medium weight fabric, so I went ahead and got this one, which is called the quilting needle, which is for medium weight fabrics. And then I'm having a little trouble with my top stitch, and so I thought, let me just put a new needle in there. So I got a top stitch. These were only $1, and there's 5 needles in each one, so I thought that was pretty good. I went ahead and grabbed them because with Joann's closed, I don't know where I'm going to get my needles from now. I may have to order them. This is just a permanent marker, but it's white, so I got a couple of these. These are on the dollar table. When I make my journals and I emboss it, and it's a dark paper, sometimes I'll take a white marker and like draw around the embossing so that it looks a little like shady, and it looks really pretty. But in the sets of markers I buy, the whites a lot of times don't show up very good, and this is a much nicer marker. So even though I make my own tags, on occasion I need, when at the Paint-A-Tree, they actually print out labels that has your barcode on it and your price and everything that you put on your product. And if you're not familiar with the Paint-A-Tree, they're a collection of individuals, and they rent you basically a booth. And so I have 2 booths in the Snellville store, and you put your stickers on your products. Well, sometimes, like let's say it's a photo album that's on paper, if it's not in plastic, I do not want a sticker on that. It'll ruin it. And so a lot of times I'll hang a tag off of it. Well, a lot of times I'll make my own tags, but on a price sticker, I don't really need it embossed or fancy. These were $18 for $1. You know, it would have taken me a very short period of time to make these, but it's also a pretty good deal for 4 cents a piece. So I went ahead and grabbed a couple of those. But I'm going to hang them off and use them to put my price stickers on. In the Snellville store, when I first went in, I found these heart gem clips that I thought were just super cute. And I bought, I think, 4 packs of them. I got home and I went to open one up, and there was 3 sets of gem clips in here. There was a heart, a little doggy, and then a 3rd pack that had like a big gem clip in there. It had 9 gem clips, but they look like a gem clip, like a jumbo gem clip. Super cute. And I thought, oh my goodness, I can put those with my binders, and I make a kit where I have a journal and a gel pen and some cute little paper clips that I make and some sticky notes, and I make a gift set of it. I thought, oh, that would be really cute to use as the paper clips instead of the ones I make. Excuse me. So I went back to buy them, and the whole cases and cases of them were sitting there. Every one of them was out of the 3-pack. And so the lady that was working back there, I said, oh, I just bought those, and they were in a 3-pack. And she goes, yes, we were supposed to take those apart. They're $1 a piece, not $1 for 3. And I said, oh no, I got 4 packs that were 3 in a pack. And she said, yeah, you and everybody else. She said, but it's okay. That's how we sold them. But then our manager realized that we weren't, same way with the glue, we weren't supposed to be selling it 3 for $1. We're supposed to be selling it 1 for $1. So I went ahead and bought more of these. They didn't have the jumbo ones. Somebody must have already bought all those. But I bought several more of the hearts and several more of the doggies. I just love the doggies. I think they're super cute. I also found these mini clothespins. There's 12 in here. 6 are glitter and then 6 are plain. I just thought that was super cute. I have on occasion in my booth at the Painted Tree, sometimes I have to buy like display items, and over in one section I have like a lot of happy birthday stuff. Sometimes I will put up like a string or a piece of yarn and I'll put something like this on there, and then I hang like, get your happy birthday gifts here, or, do you need to tell somebody thank you, or did you buy stuff for, your school friends, or, do you need bookmarks for your church group or whatever. I'll put those little notes in here and then paper clip them on, and it's super cute when they're a cute little paper clip like this. I've also made where you make you get chipboard and you cover it, and then you put this on the chipboard and put a magnet behind it, and you put it on the refrigerator, and then this is the part where you stick your photo or whatever. So it's like a little photo frame on a magnet that you put on the refrigerator, but the clip you're using is actually a clothespin, which is a super cute little project. Okay, so then, a lot of stuff, sorry. So for boxed cards, so because I do a lot of paper crafting, I make a lot of my own cards. And that's why I'm so into getting the heavier cardstock, because if it's really heavy cardstock, even if it's one-sided, especially if it's one-sided, I can cut it, fold it, and it makes a beautiful card. And I have the the We Are Memory Keepers, the envelope punch board, and so I can make my own envelopes very fast. And so it doesn't take me long to make these. But like I said, I'm going into Christmas season where I have to get a lot of stuff created very quickly. So these box cards were a really good deal. 40 cards and 40 envelopes, so it's 40 sets. They are Heidi Swapp, so they're very pretty. And these are the designs that are in them. And so literally I'll take these out, decorate the front. I do decorate the inside. Depending on what the card is, if I'm selling it as a card, I'll put several layers and make like frames and stuff, and then when you open it, I'll put something that's like a 3D pop-up. But what I use a lot of these for, because it sells really well in my booth, are gift card holders. So when you get somebody a gift card and you just give it to them in the dinky little envelope, some people want to zhuzh it up a little bit. So what I've been doing is I make cards, and then I put an insert, which is just a piece of cardstock in there with slits cut in it, and I have a little piece of cardstock in there that says insert gift card here, and then you get this whole thing and I decorate it, but when you open it, you put the gift card inside. Or you can put in a little piece of paper that you've cut and glue it on the top and the bottom, and when you open the card, it pops up and the card sits in it. Those are really popular. So I sell a lot of the gift card things. The ones that are more 3D and the ones that are decorated and the ones that are out of pretty paper tend to sell a lot better. So this was a pretty good deal. I also got this for cards. This is 5x7, 12 cards and 12 envelopes. They only had the blue, and you probably can't see it, but it is textured paper, so it's a nicer cardstock. I know it seems silly because I just bought textured paper, and all you have to do is cut it and fold it, and you've got it. But like I said, I'm in a hurry. This is a really pretty blue, and I have some gorgeous flower ephemera that I can literally just put on this and be done with it. And so this will go really, really fast. So these are a little bit bigger. And then my Snellville store had these, had a huge box of them, and they came in white, black, and craft. And so I got several of each one. And again, they're just cards and envelopes. This one only has 6 cards and 6 envelopes, and it's just cardstock. So for this, I will actually put it in my embossing machine and emboss the front, and then leave the back and the inside plain, and then put a design on here, or a saying. But again, these will probably become gift card holders because I have to do a lot of Christmas themes, and so I needed the red and the black and the craft for that. So as far as stamping supplies, these are the stamps that I found. These were all $1 a piece. Some of them, this one, the Bow Bunny one, came in a pack of 3, but they stopped me at the register and said, oh, nope, you can only have 1. And so I said, well, I only want 1. I don't really need 3 packs of stamps. So I got the Bow Bunny Rose Garden, which, again, like I said a minute ago, I sell a lot of anything I make with flowers on it tends to sell. And so if I'm using the cards I was just showing you and I emboss them, a lot of times I'll stamp on it before I emboss it, and then when you emboss it, it raises it up, so it's really, really pretty. And I have a lot of control. Obviously, when you stamp, you have a lot more control over the color. This is another one that has flowers on it. It has a thinking of you. And this one has, this is a peony, and so it will make that. So very, very pretty, again for $1. This one I'm going to use on my happy birthday cards and my happy birthday gift card holders. I just thought it was super cute with the little cake and all that. Now I'm using stickers, and instead of peeling the stickers, I'm putting foam behind the sticker without peeling it, and just putting it on the foam so it pops up so it looks like ephemera. But I think what I'm going to do is use my punch and cut like a scallop circle and then put the saying in it. And then pop the whole thing up, and so basically use it to make ephemera. So I got these 2 blocks of stickers, uppercase alphabet and lowercase alphabet. They're just separate. So I did find this. It was only $1.29. I don't have a letterpress machine, but I do have a die cut machine and an embossing machine, and so I was curious if I could use this in there. So, you know, for $1.29, I thought it was worth trying. And so I have a friend who has one, and she uses it like a stamp. She puts ink on it and then runs it through her machine. And she's the one who told me that I could use my embossing machine. So we'll see. If not, I'll just give them to her. And then I bought these. These are Craft Smart floral texture sheets, and they are for clay work. And so, you know, it has the 6 different floral designs on it. I was pretty sure they would not emboss, which I did try. They do not emboss. But I do know what these will do, because I actually have one thing that I actually used decorating a cake one time. So you put the frosting on. It was a round cake, and you put the frosting on the top, and then right as the frosting is drying, when it's still a little tacky but almost dry, you press this into it, and it makes a design in the icing, and it's actually really pretty. It actually really dressed the cake up a lot. And so I'm not sure if I'll use this for cake work or if I'll use it for clay work. We'll see. I'm not sure if I showed these before, but I'll show them again just in case, because these are probably one of the things that I like the most. These are We Are Memory Keepers soft scissors, and I found these at the Beaufort store for $1. I bought 6 packs. Don't be mad that I bought them all, because there's probably 1,000 more pair there. I saw, I think, 6 unopened, large, huge cases full of them. But they have a padded handle. And so I have osteoarthritis in my hands, and so if I clench scissors sometimes, I don't use scissors a lot. I have several paper trimmers, but on occasion I have to kind of do work. And so the blade has to be good, but boy, having that padded handle is huge. And so when I tried one out in the store, and where it hits on my finger is like perfect. It doesn't hit. I have nodules on my things from the arthritis, and so that was up. So I have 6 stations in my basement, and so for my crafting, and I have a pair at every station now, so I was pretty happy about those. So for $1, highly recommend that. So here are a few more things. Sorry, this is like a never-ending thing list here. I got these Paige Evan charms. They're 6 in a pack for $1. These are actually, I do bead dangles on my photo albums. And so this is going to go on the end of the bead dangle, so I thought that was really cute. I like the different colors of them. And then the same thing, these are tag and tassels, And so I didn't really love the color, but I actually have a set that this will go perfect with. They're actually green. And so this will go nice, and they say yay, hello, love, and happy day. There's 4 in here for $1. So for 25 cents a piece, these were a really good deal. This one, when I got up to the register, I actually asked her, I said, is this 3 for $1? Or, I mean, do we have to open this pack? And she said, no. If it has a yellow sticker that said remove from pack, then you have to take it apart. But this one, she said, the $1 is for all 3 of them. And so they were basically 33 cents a piece, but they're just little gem buttons. And so I make paper flowers a lot to go on like my albums and stuff. And I always need some kind of little decorative gem to put in the middle as the center of the flower. I also make little purses for my little sticky notes and the paper thing I make around. I make it look like a purse, and I need a clasp that comes over, and a lot of times I put a little gem on it on top of the Velcro so that it looks like it's a clasp on a purse. So I was real happy. I got several packs of those. These I bought, they're called word icons, and they were 99 cents, and I actually thought it was just ephemera, paper ephemera, but when I opened it, I realized they're plastic, and they have little nodules in the back, and so maybe somebody can tell me what these actually go to. I'm going to use them as ephemera on top of my items, and I'm just going to clip the backs off and glue it down, but I am curious what that goes on, if it goes on some kind of a board or something. Here are some of the stickers that I got. So, just my opinion, I don't think these little pack of Sticko stickers for $1 is a good deal. I bought them because I needed some fall stickers, and so if I had gone in any store and saw these for $1, I would have bought them just because I need them. I make little gift packs that have a pack of apple cider, not apple cider, hot apple cider mix, a Biscoff cookie, and a little spoon. It's just like a little cute little office gift that I sell for Christmas, and I sell a lot of them in the fall. And these are cute to go on the outside of the package, so just to make it know that it's fall, I put like a little fall sticker on the outside. And so, you know, to decorate the package for 10 cents is worth it, and so I just got several of these. But typically that would not have been the deal to be had. I also have a set that's got love all over it, and so I got the little lips. These I thought were fantastic. These were journaling stickers, and so they're, because I make journals, they were $1.29, and they have 24 pieces in them. And this set is called Free Spirit, but what I liked about them is they're bigger than just a plain sticker, but they have it so that you can write on it, or it has a saying. Some of them are long, some of them are short, some of them you can write on, some of them you can't. I just really liked this design. But when you're putting together journals, it's really nice to have something different like this, and it just, you know, makes it something a little different than what I make all the time. They had 4 different designs, and I got 2 packs of each design. This one is 26 pieces. It's from the Boss Babe collection, so I thought that was super cute. This one is, actually didn't, the happy, it just says Happy Girl Planner, but it doesn't really have a price. These were $1.29, so we're a little bit more. But I think this is a better deal at $1.29 than that little tiny pack of stickers was for 99 cents. So, you know, if I had to choose between this for 99 cents or this $1.29, I think this is a better deal. And then this one is adulting, which, you know, I cannot adult today. Today has been canceled. That is so true. And then I got the 12 Days of Christmas. Loved these. Use a lot of Christmas stickers. And these are puffy, and so they sit up, and so I really, really like that. And then these are Love You. There's 11 stickers in here, and so anything that has the gold glitter on it tends to sell really well at my store. It had a $2 sticker on it, but they were not $2. They were in a pack of 3, and of course we opened it up, and so they were $1 a piece. And so there was a little bit of controversy. She thought maybe they were 3 for $1, but they weren't. These were in a different area. They were marked at $3, but then had a 99-cent sticker on them. And so these I can use all day long. And so they weren't on the American Crafters table. They were in a different area. But still, really good deal for $1. But again, they're thicker and they're right up with all the theme stuff that I can use. So I found 2 of those. They had a lot of alphabet stickers. I got these because I have a granddaughter, and so I'll keep one set and then give one set to decorate for her stuff. And then I have these little button stickers. It has the alphabet, each one on a little round sticker, all lowercase, and then some letters. And then they had, I got 2 sets of these. These are the Sticko, the bigger stickers, and it had the whole alphabet in here. And so it shows you how many they have for each one. So this, if I'm making a sign, or a lot of times I'll have like a sale and I'll, you know, want to tell the customer something, I'll use something like this to make the sign, which keeps me from having to cut it all out of my Cricut. And I don't want them to be block letters because I don't want it to look like I just, you know, went to the Dollar Tree and bought stickers. So I thought these were cuter. This pack I really, really liked. This is called Lucky Us, and it was on the dollar table in American Crafters. They had a ton of them. I only bought 2. But there is a binder that I got that I'll show you. It's this one. So I actually buy these binders at Ollie's all the time, and I'll show you an example of a couple of them. But they happened to have this one on the dollar table. It was the only one that I only saw 2 for $1. This one and another one, a black one. I'll show you in a minute. But I really like this one. It's kind of yellow, and it's got a very inspirational theme. When you open it up, it's got all these inspirational words on this side, and then it's got like a pink polka dotted theme. So I don't really have to decorate it because I already like what's on it. But I probably will use the hearts and go through some of the pages, and maybe 3 or 4 times in here, put like a heavier piece of paper in here. You just find one and glue it on here and make a design. And so as they're journaling every now and then, they'll find like a little surprise in there. I'm probably going to use these hearts in here. I thought that would be super cute. And then I'll make a bead dangle that goes with it, and then probably put a pink neon gel pen with it. And that'll be kind of a little kit I put together. And so I thought that was super cute. When it came to the journals, I actually do this a lot. I buy these journals there because they're very nice. They're $2.99, which I know is not from the dollar table, but I actually get these a lot. They're retail for $12.99. Some of them have lined pages in them, and some of them have clear sketch pages. Most of them are lined. Most of them are meant to be journals. And they have the elastic that holds it shut. What I do with these, just in case you're wondering why I buy so many, I literally go in, I do everything in sets of 12. So if I have an idea and I want to go to the painted tree and see if it'll sell, I'll buy 12 of something. I'll decorate it or design it or make it or do whatever, and then I'll take it over there and try it out and see if it works. If it works, great. I go buy a lot more. If it doesn't work, I'm only into it for 12. I typically always wind up selling everything, but I can tell by how fast they sell whether it was a good idea or not. These were a good idea. So I think because I sell a lot of journals, people really like the small journals and the ones that they can only, they can spend $2 or $3 on and maybe buy 10 of them for office gifts. But this is something that if they want something a little bit more substantial as a gift. So what I do with these, one of the reasons I really like these is I don't have to decorate them on the outside. They have such pretty exteriors. And so they're just so nicely done. I like that this, I'm usually having to put this on or putting some kind of closure on. I like that that's already there. And I like that it has such a nice, that I don't have to use a cinch binder, that it's already on here. It's already got a nice front. It's already got a nice back. So this is already completely done as a journal. So what I do to decorate these is I typically open it up, and on the front I put a pocket right here, and then I have it correspond something with this fabric, and then I put in like a bookmark or a tag or something in here that they can use in their journal. On some of them I make tabs, and I'll randomly go through and put 4 or 5 tabs in it, and I usually don't write anything on the tab. I just, you know, with this one, I would just use like a marble paper so that they can write whatever they want on the tab, whatever they want their journal to be. And then sometimes, like I was showing you with the pink one, I will find some ephemera or stickers or something that goes with it and go through it. And I'm talking just 4 or 5 sets of pages, and I'll decorate that page. Sometimes I put washi tape on it. Sometimes I put like a journaling card, just anything in it. So for this one, I could use those Project Life black and white cards and put those on a couple of pages. The pages on any journal like this are usually pretty thin. So a lot of times I'll take a decorative paper and glue it to the front, glue it to the back, or not say, I say glue, double side tape, adhere it to the front and to the back, and then put my little saying on it, which makes it thicker, and it feels like a tab paper that's heavier, so that it's a true tab, and that's what I'll put the tab on. And that really upcycles this really, really nicely. And then if it's more of a masculine feel, I will tie just a ribbon, but not tie a bow or anything, but just a ribbon here to use so that they can lean it over and use it as a page holder. On the ones that are more feminine, I typically put a bead charm, and then I put a bookmark in it. And then I always put an ink pen with it, sometimes a gel pen, sometimes an ink pen, just depends. Because I found all those cool gem clips with the doggy and the heart, depending if it's a masculine one, I'll use the jumbo clips. If it's more feminine, I'll use the heart clips, and if it's generic, you know, or something in between, I'll use the doggy clips, because I got so many of those. And then I usually put sticky notes, and that makes like a little gift set. And those actually sell really, 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 really well. But the base of it is this book, and I needed it to be a lot nicer than a typical journal. So this is a really good deal. So I've bought probably 20 different designs. These 3 just happened to be in this haul. The rest of them are actually already made and packaged and already over there. I really love this one with the sun on it. I thought that was really cool. And this yellow one with the flowers is just gorgeous. I didn't have anything. And so every time I go in there, I go to look, because every store carries different of these journals. And I don't know where they're getting from or who's not selling them, but they're actually very, very beautiful. The other thing that I got was in one of the Ollies, I found I needed some more masculine journals. And the ones that I was finding, on occasion I'll find one like that black and checkered one that's a little more masculine. But I found this 2-pack for $2.99, which makes each journal $1.50. So here's one that's open. So again, it's got the little thing, but it's smaller. It does have college ruled paper in it. And it's just a much plainer, and it's got the little ribbon bookmark already on there. And so this, I was just going to put a nice piece of ephemera or decorate on the front. I was going to make it a more inspirational saying, and make this more masculine, which would be closer to like this one, right? And so I thought, well, I could make like a bigger pack and put these together, and they would match, because I just couldn't find any. Well, right after I bought those, and I'm very happy that I bought them for $1.50, but then I was in the Beaufort store yesterday, and I stumbled upon these. And these were on the dollar table, and I thought, oh, you're kidding me. So they're in packs of 2, but they're art journals. So they're different in that they are not lined on the inside. It's an art journal, so they're sketch papers. So, but again, had the cinch, you know, had the binding that I like. I get up to the register, and very much expecting her to say, we can't buy those 2 in a pack, which of course is what she said. And I said, oh yes ma'am, but I want both of them. Like I had, I think, 4 packs. So I said, I want all 8. And I said, but there's cases and cases of them left. And so she went to ring one up, and it rang up at $2.99, which is what I pay for the other ones. Very reasonable price. And I said, oh, wait, I thought it was $1. And she said, that is $1. And I jumped for joy, because why would I pay $2.99 when I can get this one for $1, even though it doesn't have a design on it? And she said, I don't know why it's ringing up at $2.99. So the manager comes over and he goes, I don't know. It's been doing that all day long. They're $1. So he corrected it, and I got each of them for $1. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and keep these and work with them because I know I can get these anytime. I won't be able to get these again after this sale is over. And so I'll decorate it and see what I think. If I really like it, I'll go back and get more. But I know I can get these again. But I just thought this was a really good deal, especially since I buy the other ones at $2.99 all the time. I was pretty happy to see those. This one, I actually got this at the Snellville store, and I went by last night and got some more. These are little mini journals that I'm putting in with my big journal. So you get like a big journal, and I usually make these, but when I found these on the dollar table, I've been working late nights trying to get all this inventory made, and I thought, you know, for 50 cents a piece, I'll just buy these. It's so much faster. But they're an unusual shape. You know, they're tall and skinny, which makes it unusual. This one actually has craft paper in it, which I thought, oh no, that's interesting with the green. And this had, you know, a lot of the colors that I use, and it had white. So I thought I'll marry each of these with my, you know, pretty journals, and they'll get a really nice lined journal. And then the mini journal, instead of remaking a journal on some of them, I'll put something inspirational on here and then give them a green and a yellow gel pen, and then their sticky notes, and make all that stuff match. And then the gem clips and all that, and bind it together for like a really nice look. So I kind of cheated and bought these for $1, 2 for $1, because there's 2 in here. And I've already made, I think I had bought 6 packs the other day and got home that night, and just a lot of times when I buy them stuff, I'm dying to see if it'll work, and I came down and pulled my ephemera out, and within minutes had pulled my books out and was matching them up, and then matching everything, and got it all put together. And then since I had just bought the gem clips, I just started kind of putting them together, and then I wanted to see if I had the right colors, the right size cellophane bags. And so by the time I got done, I looked up and I had put them all together, and I had 2 journals, and I had run out of these little journals, and so I had to go get 2 more. But while I was in there, I found 3 more books, so I had to buy enough to do the rest of the 3 more books. The other thing that I bought to go with the journals are these mini file folders by Heidi Swapp. There's only 4 pieces in here, but they're very well made and very good quality. So what I do with these, they're literally just double-sided cardstock, so they're very easy to make. So you just cut your paper the size that you want, and then you can either edge cut them with like pretty little scissors like this, or you can die cut them, or you can cut them on your Cricut. This you can just cut out, or you can punch it with a tab, but it makes little tab folders. Super, super, super cute. The other thing you can do is take glue and run it down either side, and make it into a pocket. And so, you know, when it's done, you just put things in a pocket and they don't fall out. These are super cute to put inside those spiral journals that I was showing you before. You take these journals on the inside and put these folders and glue them on the front. This makes it really, really fast. These were very nice paper, very much in the color scheme that I like. Very different from each other. So there was, you know, the 2 that were the black and white with the green and the black and white, of which I have a whole series of the black and white. I have a whole bunch of that are the roses, and then I really like this color. And then I like that the different tabs were on them. So this just was something a little bit different. So I'll use 1 or 2 of these in each of my journals, and so I got a couple packs of these. But again, these are super easy to make yourself. They're just time consuming. But of all the things that I got, you know, that I'm like, oh, this is too thin or whatever, this, you need heavy cardstock to make these correctly. And so that's why I was so excited about that one paper pack that I got that was heavy. But if you can find them like this that are already pre-made for 25 cents a sheet, or $1 for the whole thing, this will save me a bunch of time. I also got some of their smart vinyl. I've seen these in most of the stores. I just can't find the colors that I want. I need red, white, blue, and green. So I found the blue and I found the green. Now I have red and white vinyl. I just really wanted the smart vinyl. I'm not using it for its intended purpose. I am using it on my Cricut, but the whole smart vinyl, its point is that if you have a Cricut Explorer 3 or a Maker 3 or above, you don't need a mat. You can just run this right through, and it runs through your machine, and you don't have to load it, unload it from a mat. I unfortunately have a Cricut Explorer 2. I'm probably going to have to upgrade, but right now that's what I have. And so I have to use my mat. But what I really wanted these for is, A, it's a really good vinyl. It's a removable vinyl, so it's a nice vinyl. And secondly, it's 13 inches by 12 feet. And so a typical roll of vinyl, depending on who you buy it from, is, 4 feet. It's 48 inches long. And so this is 3 times that. So for $2.99, that's like paying $1 for a typical roll of vinyl. And this is in my opinion, a much heavier, nicer vinyl. I had commented before about how I make my own sticky note covers and sticky note pads, and I even make the ones where you put the magnetic clip on them and put them on your refrigerator and hang the sticky note there. I had last year bought a bunch of sticky notes from Dollar Tree. I actually ordered a case of them, and got the ones with all the pretty colors in it. And then I wound up finding some Staples ones, and what a difference. These are much nicer sticky notes. So for me to actually use them in my shop, I'll reach for my Staples notes over the Dollar Tree because they stick a lot better. And so this year, all I'm making are the ones from the Staples. And I happen to find these in Ollie's. There's 12 in here for $3.99. So that's a really good price. That's like, what, 35 cents a sticky note. So that's actually really, really good. And they had the yellow ones, which I make a lot of, but they also had the colors. And so I really like these bright colors, especially if I'm using the designer paper. And so so I've got several packs, but you can find these in there a lot. So I only started looking a couple of months ago, and every time I go in there, I see them. I also bought the bigger sticky notes too. I just didn't bring them over here to show you. But soon as I say that, I'll go in there and they'll be gone. But for what I'm making, for at least the pre-season stuff going into my Christmas, I have plenty. I also buy a lot of the junior legal pads, the 5x8s, and I make a journal out of them. I cut the paper and I fold it over. I make a spine out of it and fold it, and I even put a little pencil thing in there, a pen thing in there, and then I put the designer paper over here. A lot of times I make a pocket so that you can put your paper in and out. Typically I use a white or a yellow pad, but I really like the colors. I saw these in Ollie's. They're green, blue, and red. It is the 50 sheet. The typical thing, $1.99, so a little bit more than what I usually pay. So that's what, 65 cents a piece, but that's fine. It'll make it kind of interesting and neat that it's a different color. I sell a lot of these covered pads. I can sell them very inexpensively. I like to have a section of gifts that are under $5, and a section that's under $10, and a section that's under $20, and you'll see people go right to their section. And so these tend to sell really well. These I got, it's a daily planner sheets. It's a pack of 2. There's 80 sheets in each one. They're 8.5 by 11. These will go, I'm actually going to put these in a 3-ring binder. The binder I've decorated. One's got a blue theme, one's got a green theme. This side is blue, but the second pack on the back has a green design across the top. They are a little bit different. This just has a like morning, afternoon, nighttime, and then things to do, versus this one has what do I do from 6 a.m. to midnight, and then things to do. So just a little bit different concept. There's 80 in each pack, and so I'll 3-hole punch them, and then these will go in my 3-ring binder. It's a planner binder. And in that planner binder, I'll have tabs for the months, and then I bought a couple of packs of these, so I'll actually make a full planner out of it. So it'll be interesting. I'm actually making one to sell, but I'm actually keeping one for myself. I have found that as I get older, I do better when I write stuff down. I use my phone all the time to keep list because I have it with me, but when I'm truly sitting down and planning, like what do I need to do tomorrow, especially if I have a lot going on, if I write it down, it makes all the difference in the world in my ability to remember. So these are just a couple of random things that I got. This one, I don't know if you've ever done this before. This, I'm kind of excited to play with this. This is a Recollections Mould and Deckle paper maker. And so I don't know if you've ever made paper before, but I really wanted the frame. So basically it's just the frame. But what you do is you just get paper pulp, which can be just shredded up paper. You put it in water and make a pulp out of it. And so it's just this slushy mess. And then you put the frame, which is a wood frame with mesh, and it's on a hinge so it opens. So you put it in there. Is this one? Yeah, I think it's on a hinge. So you put it in there. I said that. I don't know if this has a hinge or not. You put it in the paper, like you're panning for gold, and then you get the pulp in here, and if you put a little pulp on it, it makes thin paper. If you put a lot of pulp on it, it makes thick paper. And you can make just a plain sheet of paper, or you can put speckles in it. So the one I made was, I took gift wrap shred that was shiny, and I cut it up with my scissors, and I sprinkled it on there while it was wet. And then you just mix it in the pulp like this, and then you pick it up and all the water drips out, and then you set this down on like a towel and sponge it off. And then when it's done, you open it up and set the paper down on the towel, and then lift this off, and your paper stays down. And then you put it somewhere to dry, and the next day when you come back and all the water's gone, you have a sheet of paper. It's really cool. Makes beautiful, beautiful paper. The ones I've made, I've used as matting. So I did a gorgeous photo album, and I made a handmade piece of paper mat for the front out of this, and then put sentiment in the middle of it, and it sold right away. But for $1.99, I thought this was a really good deal. They only had two. I bought one, and then I went back the next day, and the other one was gone. So somebody else must have been as excited as me to see it. This is another photo album. I make photo albums a lot, and so this was $2.99. And it's a Heidi swap, but it's a different photo album. It's different from the one I've seen, so I'll put something on the front here. But basically the way this works is you open it up and you put your photo on the left, and then it's got some stickers so that you can put like a sentiment on here, and then you write the date, and then you journal for the whole page. So it's already pre-done, and then it comes with the stickers. So I thought this was interesting. It was $2.99. I just wouldn't buy a whole lot of these. This I might try one of them. Can't really go back and get more because this was the only one I saw. But I thought for $2.99 I'll try it. Stuff like this I can make it, and if I decorate it right and put enough sentiment in it and put some, you know, instead of photos, I'll put like a piece of decorated paper in there and then put a little sticker that says insert photo here. And then, you know, put a dangle on it and put a pretty cover over it. You know, I can sell these for $10. It's worth it to try one because then I can get, you know, something a little creative done, but I don't have to make a lot of them. So because I have a candy bouquet business, I tend to make a lot of my own boxes. And so I saw these at the Beaufort store. They're 3 boxes for $1, which is just unheard of for a decorative box with a top and a bottom, with the clear top. These are a very unusual item for a crafter to buy. They're nail files, decorative nail files. But the reason I bought these is I make these and sell in my booth. Normally this wasn't quite finished. It needs the tag on the top, and then I staple it. But it is a decorative nail file. And so this one actually has 2 files in it, and they're both solid black. And then I just take designer paper, and I can do a video and show you. You just fold it, and then I have a little piece of ephemera, a little daisy on the top. And then it's just 2 nail files, but it's decorative, so it's pretty. And I sell quite a lot of these, and so I made these just one weekend bored. So I ordered some and made a whole bunch of them. I saw a video and thought it was cute. and wound up, these sell really, really, really well. And so I guess if you're just looking for a little gift for somebody, this just happened to, it was very inexpensive. And so, you know, it doesn't take any time at all to make these. And, you know, the nail files, and the black ones and the white ones were thinner, so I put 2 in each one. But in ordering from Amazon, the ones that were decorative, I also ordered, I think I got a pack of 100 of them. Well, they're all gone. So I happened to see these, and I went on my little spreadsheet where I track everything I spend on every single product, so I know what my cost of goods are. And I had spent about 30 cents when I bought them in bulk for the big, heavy, nice ones. So I happened to see these, they were $1, which makes these 33 cents. So I thought, you know what, they had a bunch of them, let me try them. That way I don't have to make such a huge order from, I mean, it's not a huge order, but a big order from Amazon. Let me try these. These I actually put in a solid color sleeve, and then I put like rhinestones or some kind of little gem or something on there. And these sell really well. So I've sold all my black ones, all my white ones, and I think I only have 1 or 2 of these left, and I'm out for the season. And so I've been needing to make these for quite some time. So I've got my order in, but they're not going to be here for another week. So I'm going to make these tonight and put them in the store tomorrow because I'm completely out. Okay, we're almost done here. Yay, we're getting to the end. So some of the stores had paper crafting. Some of the stores had sewing, but 1 or 2 of the stores, all they had was baking supplies. So I got all of this in one store, and that was all they had on the American Crafters table was from the sweet shop. And so I thought that was interesting. And I actually already have a cake leveler, but I don't know where it is. And so I thought, well, for $1, I'll buy it and put it in my drawer, and at least that way I'll know where it is. But if you don't have a cake lever, it's really cool. You bake your cake, and you know how it domes up when you bake it. You put this on it, and you pull the wire up, and then you slice the top of the cake off so that when you ice it, your cake layers are completely flat, so you don't get that weird doming. So there's nothing wrong with the doming if you're making the cake for yourself, but if you're making it like to take to somewhere, or if it's for an event, you want the cake to be pretty level. Also, if you make a multi-layer cake and you stack it up, it tends to slide off if you're not careful. And so I use the leveler, and then I put shish kebab sticks down in the cake. And then when you get to wherever you're taking it to, you pull the shish kebab sticks out and then push the icing over it, and it stays perfectly still. But for $1, everybody needs a cake leveler. I also got these 2 bottles with tips on the end. So I make at Christmas time. It's a mold, and it's you put melted chocolate in it, and then it makes a cup, and then you put hot chocolate in it, and then seal the top, and it makes little hot cocoa cups. They are the cutest little thing. They sell really, really well for Christmas. And so I have the chocolate melting machine. I have everything that I need, but I was having to use piping bags with a tip, because when you're done, you put marshmallows on the top, and then you take melted chocolate and like drizzle it over the top, and then you use chocolate to squeeze on it to use as glue, so that everything in it's edible. But I got 2 packs of these bottles with the tips on it, so I'm super excited. One of the bottles I'm keeping for myself for my little hot chocolate kit, but the other one I'm going to put in with this. So I bought this. So this is from Sweet Sugar Belle. It was on the dollar table, but it was $2.99. It was marked as $2.99. And the gentleman who was working said, oh, we put some of that stuff out to go with the other dollar stuff that came in because it's all baking supplies. So, you know, in Ollie's, if it's marked, that's the price. If it's not marked, it's probably, you know, on the dollar sale. So the bottles were $1, but this was $2.99. But this is a shape shifter cookie set. So I have 2 grandkids. So I got this for my daughter, and it basically has different shapes of cookies. It has the recipe for the cookies, and then the cookie cutters, and then the little thing that shows like how to make each of these designs. So it shows like you know, you put this layer, then you put that layer, then you put this layer. So we'll see. She likes doing stuff like this. So it'll be interesting to see how this works. And then with this, they had lots of sprinkles and lots of sanding sugar. Last year, I looked everywhere for really good sanding sugar and wound up having to go to a bakery company. One of the things that I saw at the Painted Tree that went over really well was chocolate dip spoons. You take a really nice heavy plastic spoon and you dip it in chocolate, and then you put sprinkles on it or sanding sugar or, you know, whatever you want to decorate it with, or, you know, drizzle icing over it or whatever, and then package them and sell them with coffee and hot chocolate. And people just buy the chocolate dip spoon. They're very inexpensive to make, but you can sell them for, you know, $1 or $2. And you're making almost 95% of that in profit. But I needed a lot of sanding sugar because I didn't want them all to look the same. I wanted, you know, multiple different choices. And it was interesting how some people really gravitated to the blue and white for winter, and some wanted Christmas, and some wanted different colors. So, but anyway, I found this sanding sugar. It was $1.49, and it was on the same table. But I got this to go with her cookies because I thought that would be a good little solution. And then I found this sanding sugar, which was from the Sweet Tooth Fairy. It was just solid white, but it was on the dollar table, so it was $1. And then also for $1, I found this sprinkle mix. They had bigger containers. But she has those. She had the, you know, the red, the white, and the yellow, you know, the typical happy birthday. But this was kind of the darker color. So I thought with the sanding sugar, this would all kind of go together and kind of give her that as like her little cookie making kit. I also found, we love key lime pie. And these were on the dollar table. And it cracked me up because I thought, you know, by the time I buy everything, I'll have a $10 pie. But you mix cream cheese, Cool Whip, and a graham cracker crust, and this gives it that key lime, and it makes it into like a cheesecake key lime pie, which it would be one of our all-time favorites. But I got a couple of packs of these. I did look at the expiration date, and they're good for another year. So just because we're such huge key lime pie, but I actually got that for us to eat. And then this was on the same table as the other stuff. It's the meltables. And I, a lot of times, will buy my meltables in Hobby Lobby when they put them on clearance. And that's what I make my chocolate dip spoons and my hot cocoa cups out of, and my cocoa bombs. But these were orange. I don't make a lot with orange, but I think I'm going to make some fall ones this year. So I think I'm going to make the chocolate and then use this as the drizzle on top. And I'm about to go to my Kroger to see if they still have them. They had little chocolate melted chocolate pumpkins that I can put on there because everything on it has to be edible. If not, I'm looking for like orange fall colored sprinkles, and I'll put those on there. And I'll just, you know, again, I make 12 of something. I'll make 12 to see how the fall looking colors will go. And then I think I'm going to make a couple of spoons. And then this one I couldn't believe. So this was on the dollar table. It was not marked. It is a huge 32 ounce, 2 pound. And this is for chocolate fountains. So you can use it for a chocolate fountain, or you can use it to, for what I'm going to do, which is melt it and make items with it. But I walked up front and asked her because I knew this could not be $1. And she said, well, it doesn't have a price on it. And then they scanned it, it wouldn't scan up. And so she just said, show me where you found it. So I walked her back and showed her. And I had 3 of them in my buggy, and she said, well, I'll sell you those 3 while we try to figure it out, but I'll sell you those for $1. So I'm like, ooh, can I have more? So, but I didn't. I just took the 3. I didn't want to be greedy. So I have no idea how much, if they're supposed to be $3 or if they were supposed to be more, but I was pretty happy to get that for $1. So finally, that is the end of my haul. My goodness gracious. And just think I have to make all this stuff. So that is everything. I actually did buy a few more things, and I got many multiples of many of these things. But some of the things I have, as soon as I got them, I made stuff with it and moved it on because I have to make quite fast in this process to get everything ready. And so surprisingly, there is a plan for every bit of this stuff. Just a few things were for personal, but most of them are for my business. But if you're ever out and about, please go by and visit your local painted tree if you have one. It's a very cute little boutique. Here in Georgia, we have 3. There's one up at Mall of Georgia. There's one in Roswell. And then there's one by me, which is the one I'm in, which is the one in Snellville. You see a lot of local artists, a lot of local craftspeople in there. Some people are just reselling stuff that they found. A lot of people have clothing, but you do find quite a lot of local artists and local craftsmen. And we spend a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of time and a lot of love making our stuff. It's like going to a craft fair. And so each one I've been in has a different vibe in it. And so just please support your local businesses. We could really use your help. But happy crafting. I hope everybody has fun.